Gentlemen over 60, I want you to pause whatever else you're doing and give me a few moments of your full attention. If you've been waking up lately and noticing that the quiet morning strength you relied on for decades is no longer there, you're not imagining it, and you're certainly not alone. Many men describe it as a kind of silence, an absence, a dullness where there used to be vitality. But I want you to hear this clearly, with zero hesitation or confusion. The fading of your morning erections is not a sign that you're too old, too late, or beyond help. It is a sign that your body has gone quiet, not that it has shut down. I'm Dr. Michelle Zion, board-certified urologist and men's vitality specialist, and for the past 15 years, I've dedicated my practice to helping aging men reconnect with the strength, confidence, and internal fire they thought time had stolen from them. I've walked alongside thousands of men who felt embarrassed, anxious, or defeated because their bodies no longer responded the way they once did. And every single time, I have looked them in the eye and told them the truth. Your system is not broken. It has simply slipped into a lower gear, waiting for the right signals to wake it back up again. Today, I'm going to teach you something that most men will never hear from their doctors, their friends, or even their partners. You're going to learn about 2 specific pressure zones in the male body that can gently restart blood flow, reawaken sensitivity, and restore the natural reflexes that create morning erections. These techniques aren't invasive. They aren't medication. They aren't painful. They are simply methods of reconnecting with parts of your body that have been asleep for too long. Before we begin, I want to say this with compassion and clarity. Losing morning erections is not the same as losing your masculinity. It is not a sign of failure. It is not a punishment. It is not a permanent decline. It is a communication issue, nothing more. Your nerves, your blood vessels, your tissues, your hormonal signals, they are all still capable. What's happened is that the channels connecting them have grown quiet from years of tension, sitting, stress, sedentary habits, and lack of focused awareness. The silence of the male body after 60. As men age, something subtle begins to change, something that isn't discussed enough. You spend decades living in a state of constant activity, pressure, and responsibility. You work long hours, care for your families, push through pain, ignore stress, sit more than you move, and rarely stop to check in with your own body. Eventually, your nervous system adapts. It closes doors that are rarely used. It reduces sensitivity in areas that don't receive attention. It lowers blood flow to muscles that stay contracted or neglected. None of this happens overnight. It's a slow, quiet dimming of systems that were once bright and active. Morning erections are one of the first things to fade, not because the body is incapable, but because the neurovascular communication loop has become weakened. The nerves that once fired rapidly now fire slowly. The blood vessels that once filled easily now require stimulation. The pelvic floor muscles that once contracted automatically have become tight, weak, or inactive. When men tell me, "Doctor, I just don't feel anything down there anymore," they're describing a nervous system that has muted itself over time. I recently worked with a man named David, 69 years old, a retired pilot who spent most of his adult life sitting in a cockpit for long hours at a time. When he first came to see me, he said, "Dr. Zion, it feels like my body just forgot who I am." He wasn't exaggerating. Sitting for decades had compressed his pelvic nerves, shortened his hip muscles, and stiffened the arteries that supply blood to the lower body. But his problem wasn't irreversible. It was simply unrecognized. Within 2 weeks of targeted stimulation, breathing, and circulatory work, the same methods I'm going to teach you, he walked into my office and told me, with tears in his eyes, "I woke up this morning and felt a spark again. I didn't think I would ever feel that sensation." Do you understand the weight of that sentence? A spark again. Not a miracle. Not a fantasy. A simple awakening of a body that had been silent for too long. Pressure point 1, the root switch. The first point I want to teach you about lies in a place most men never think about, the perineal root, the soft, sensitive area between the scrotum and the anus. In Eastern traditions, it's considered the foundation of male vitality, where energy, blood flow, and masculinity gather. In Western medicine, we call it a neurovascular gateway because it sits directly above 2 critical elements: the bulbocavernosus muscle, which pumps blood into the erectile tissue, the pudendal nerve, which carries signals of pleasure, pressure, and arousal. When this area becomes tight, neglected, or inactive, which happens commonly after 50, the body loses its natural reflexes. You may still be capable of intimacy, but the spontaneous morning responses, the sudden surges of sensitivity, the involuntary pulses that used to greet you at dawn, those disappear. To reactivate this point, I teach my patients a simple grounding practice. Sit on a soft rolled towel or cushion so that the pressure sits directly across the perineal root. You're not trying to press hard, and you're not trying to force anything. Your goal is to bring awareness back to a place your brain has stopped checking in with. Breathe slowly into your belly, let your shoulders drop, let your body soften around the pressure. It sounds simple, and it is, but the effects can be profound. A patient of mine named Leon, 72, a former woodworker, came to me complaining of a numbness, as if the whole area had gone offline. Within days of practicing perineal grounding, he began to feel warmth, just warmth, nothing dramatic, then light tingles, then a gentle pulse while resting, and within 3 weeks he told me, "I woke up today and felt alive down there in a way I haven't in years. The body remembers, the nerves remember, the blood flow remembers. The spark never dies, it just dims when neglected." Pressure point 2. The femoral highway. The second pressure zone resides where your thigh meets your lower abdomen, what I call the femoral pathway. This crease seems insignificant, but beneath it run two structures essential to male vitality: the femoral artery, which supplies blood to the pelvis, and erectile tissues, the femoral nerve, which provides sensation and triggers pelvic activation. Years of sitting, driving, tight hips, and lack of stretching compress this pathway. When the artery becomes stiff or restricted, blood flow slows. When the nerve becomes trapped, communication dulls. And when both are compromised, men experience what they describe as disconnection. A man named Samuel, 67, a retired school principal, once told me, "Dr. Zion, I feel like the bottom half of my body belongs to someone else." I knew exactly what he meant. His femoral pathway was rigid from decades of sitting and stress-related muscle tension. When I taught him how to trace along this inner thigh line, with gentle, slow pressure, guided by breath, he discovered just how tight the area had become. Within a week, he reported warmth returning. Within 3 weeks, he noticed spontaneous pressure changes in the morning. Within 6 weeks, he said, "My body feels awake again." When this pathway opens, the pelvic region comes back online. Blood flows where it hasn't flowed freely in years. The nerves fire more quickly. The brain begins receiving signals it has been starved of. And morning strength, the quiet, involuntary kind that reflects your body's internal health, often returns on its own. The science behind the awakening. Let me explain what's actually happening, because understanding your own body gives you power. When you apply pressure to these 2 points, perineal root and femoral pathway, you trigger 3 biological responses. 1. Neurovascular stimulation. You're waking up nerve endings that have become dormant. These nerves control not only erection, but also sensation, arousal, and reflex contraction. 2. Blood vessel expansion. Slow pressure improves endothelial function, encouraging blood vessels to relax and widen. This increases blood flow where it matters most. 3. Pelvic muscle activation. Deep breathing sends oxygen into underused muscles. The pelvic floor begins contracting rhythmically again, driving circulation. You aren't forcing your body to do anything unnatural. You're simply helping it remember how it used to function. 3 habits that make these results last. If you want permanent improvement, not just temporary change, there are 3 daily habits every man over 60 should adopt. These are not complicated. They do not require equipment. They are simply signals your body needs consistently. Habit 1. Deep belly breathing for 5 minutes. This increases nitric oxide, relaxes arteries, and improves pelvic circulation. Most men breathe shallowly, starving the pelvic muscles of oxygen. Habit 2. Morning hydration. 1 glass of warm water immediately on waking improves blood viscosity, circulation, and hormonal balance. Habit 3. Lower nighttime sugar. High sugar stiffens arteries and reduces nocturnal blood flow, making morning erections harder to achieve. These are simple habits, but when combined with the pressure points, they create a foundation for sustained vitality. I've spent years listening to men confess their fears, shame, and doubts. Men who once felt powerful and alive now feel invisible, disconnected, or defeated. But here's the truth I want you to carry with you. Your body has not abandoned you. Your strength is not gone. Your masculinity is not fading. Your system simply needs attention. The male body is incredibly resilient. It responds quickly. It rebuilds. It remembers. Give it 5 minutes a day. Give it your presence. Give it the awareness you've denied it for too long, and you'll be amazed at what returns. Tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, before you turn on the TV, before you start your day, give yourself 5 quiet minutes. Sit on a soft rolled towel. Sink into the perineal root. Breathe slowly. Then trace along your femoral pathway with awareness. Not force, not pressure, just connection. Do this for a few weeks and watch what happens. Warmth returns, sensitivity returns, strength returns, and that quiet, confident pulse of masculinity, the one you thought age had taken, begins rising again. If this message helped you, if it made you feel seen, understood, or hopeful, I invite you to like, subscribe, and share this with another man who needs it. I'm Dr. Michelle Zion. And remember, gentlemen, aging is not the end of vitality. It is the beginning of awakening.